Well, race fans, Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans, welcome to 2025 and another series of Doug and Drivers. And I can't wait to get this thing kicked off, and especially because I get to kick it off with Pato Who. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I had Pato Award here. Pato, thanks for joining us. I'm going to start right there because I can't leave it alone. I drive every single day to work. I see this big billboard, Pato Who. It was a difficult moment for us in the middle of the summer when all that came out, but somebody's embraced it pretty well. Have you really embraced the whole Pato Who thing?
I have embraced it. I think probably the best anybody has embraced it, right? But you got to see the positives and everything, or you at least try to,
right?
You know, and I feel like the best marketing campaign came out of our CEO, and I'm having fun with it, you know, and that's what it's about, you know, just making noise, and people seem to find it funny and like enjoy it.
It does make me smile, and I think it makes me smile because I know that you've sort of embraced the whole thing and said, let's figure out a way to take something that wasn't maybe positive initially and turn it into something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely turned into something bigger than I thought.
Right. So, you know, Pato Who is a kind of a great foundation. Is that a motivator for you to say, I'm going to tell you who Pato is?
I told my family, I was like, if I ever have a documentary or a movie about me, that's what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Pato Who.
Yeah.
It just came very natural, I would say, at the press conference whenever, you know, those stories came out that morning, and then one in Milwaukee. Yep. And then I was like, this is the perfect time. And it just kind of escalated from there, I would say.
Well, it's been great, and you are, if not the most popular driver in our series, certainly one of them. And I think what makes you so popular is, A, you embrace the challenge of how do we grow our sport. You run up front, which is really important, and people want to know that they've got somebody that has a chance to win. And I think the other thing is the emotion that you share. One of the things that Tony Kanaan did so well to get the fans to embrace him was his emotions were on his sleeve. And you were certainly that way, and there was no better example of that than last year as you rolled in at the end of the Indy 500, and you could just see the frustration, the sadness, the disappointment. Tell me about that moment.
Oh, man. I think about it a lot. I have very memorable moments, good and bad, of all of my Indy 500s. It was definitely a lot of emotions kind of hitting at that moment. But it was just, you know, a can that had been opened of that obviously just keeps getting heavier and heavier and heavier every year when you haven't quite gotten it. And, you know, more times than not, we've been so freaking close multiple times, you know. So I think that's what truly showed just the passion that I have for not only IndyCar racing, but just winning there. And I feel like that place deserves the meaning that it has, and it deserves the emotion that, you know, quite frankly, just kind of happened.
Right.
You know, when I rolled into the pit box and it was just like, instantly. It just shows to how much it means to not just me, but I think a lot of people and a lot of different drivers, you know, guys that have won it before. You can see when they describe their Indy 500 wins, like, you can see it's not just an IndyCar win, it's something different. I just wish I can hopefully experience that at least once in my life, because it definitely looks like it's just something that you won't be able to explain unless you've experienced it before.
So when you've had a chance to watch that video, one of the things that I think is pretty powerful, obviously Joseph getting a win back-to-back is a popular champion, but you could hear the crowd cheering when you took the lead. I mean, there was a significant portion of that venue that wanted you to win. Does that give you extra motivation when you know you've got thousands and thousands of people that are so loud, you can hear it over the race cars when you take the lead?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I heard it in the car. And people are like, there's no way you heard it. I heard it. I heard it because at that point, I know we were kind of crossing the bricks. At that point, you're not kind of like up in the revs in sixth gear. You know, you've got the buzz of the engine, and then you just hear, "Whoa," and I was like, what? Obviously, I wasn't looking around but I heard the volume of something that was in the car just kind of elevate. That was pretty magical, I would say. And I think after finishing the race and all that, seeing how people were so receptive, I would say, to the emotions that I also had, it seemed like a lot of people shared that with me in a way. And that it's something I've never experienced before, ever. Because I feel like it was one of the best races that I've ever done. Definitely my best Indy 500 that I've ever done, just because we were nowhere, man, all day. Like, we were 16th, 14th, 12th. And then I found an opening in just one part of the strategy where we had just a little bit more fuel than cars in front. And it obviously relied a lot on just having confidence in the car to move your way forward as guys started to peel off. And when we made it to the last stint and we were, I think, 4th or 5th in line, at that point I was like, oh, I think we're stuck, because there wasn't another pit stop and it's so hard to pass 4th and 5th in line. But I somehow managed, and when I was trading with Joseph, I was like, it's going to be him or me. Like, it's one of us. You know, it was the show that I think everybody wanted to see, right? Just
Especially
an amazing
after that long
race.
day.
Yes, and everyone stayed, man. Everyone stayed, and like people brought the energy, and like honestly, it was kind of cool that we kind of ended where it was like evening. Like it was like a perfect storm to a very exciting race. Sadly, I didn't come out winning it, but I know my time will arrive, because it will. The more times you put yourself there to have the opportunity. But I always go back with a big smile on my face, like just being part of the event.
Well, you've definitely become a fan favorite, and it's neat to see. I can't wait to see how the fans embrace you this year, given what happened last year and the way that they just saw that emotion. And your boss, Tony Kanaan, obviously took him 12 plus years to finally win that. So you've got somebody in your camp that can really talk to you about how you get there. But so this will be your 6th 500 that you start. You know, obviously Carlin the first year was a terrible year. Carlin comes and tries to figure that out. The car doesn't make it. But your races, you've got 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, a couple seconds. I mean, you are on the verge. For you to win the Indianapolis 500, unlike an Alexander Rossi who wins his first time, doesn't know what he's got, I can't imagine the emotion that you would have to win that race, now knowing and having been through the whole gamut of not quite getting there.
I was telling my, because when I got out of the car, I remember my family was there. And when I spoke to them later that night when I was more calm, I did tell them, I said, the day that I win this race is going to be insane. Because I'll be able to experience all of the emotions like to the max.
Right.
Because it's obviously something that's been so close, and it's just going to be magnified, really. I can't wait to talk to you once I've won that race to tell you what it feels like,
Right.
because it definitely, yeah, I mean, you think about it. You can't not think about it.
So the other thing that I think is really cool about you is how you have embraced connecting with fans. So no matter where the NTT IndyCar Series goes, you're trying to find a way to get fans engaged. You're picking up tickets for people. You're creating experiences for people. What motivates you to do that?
I feel like when you give somebody an experience that they weren't expecting, that goes a long way. And I feel like that makes just die-hard fans, you know, for you, for your team, for your sport. I think sharing is caring, and in some way that's my way of sharing with the fans. So I always allocate a certain budget where I would like to create something for somebody that, maybe they've never had a chance to do that ever in their life before,
What I love is how much you care about the sport, and you're happy to tell us when we could do things better or we're doing things wrong. But what I love about it is you don't just say, hey, this is wrong. You're invested in the sport. You're invested in our fans. You care about our fans. Last question for you, and I haven't seen it yet because we're filming this in January, and this is actually coming out at the beginning of the season. But Fox has stepped up, and the Joseph spot just came through. But I know there's also a spot that might feature you. What was that moment like, being able to produce that spot?
In short, we're badass. I felt like I was Brad Pitt, bro. I mean, they had a freaking motorhome and a chef on set. Like, it was like we were shooting a movie. I mean, first off, they know what they're doing, for sure. And I think they have such a clear idea of where they want to take the series in terms of how to deliver. The commercials, the drivers, they're showing us off. Right. And not just showing the series off. And I feel like that is what's going to take the series to an even bigger level. And I think in the next 12 months, IndyCar will be hitting milestones that I don't think they were expecting to, because of how well they're knowing how to market this. 'Cause, man, In this day and age, everything's online.
Right.
Everything. You know how to market it, you're gonna.
Yep. Well, we got great marketable people and you and
We
Alex
try,
and
man.
Randy,
We
who
try.
set the great job.
We try.
So yeah, it's Pato Who, but we know who Pato is, and he could be on the Borg Warner Trophy. I know at some point in time he will be, but he could be this year for the 109th running of the Indy 500 presented by Gamebridge. Pato Who, Pato Award, thank you for being here. It's so much fun to have you. I can't wait to hear our fans cheer the moment you walk out, the first day of practice, and certainly on race day. Thanks for loving the sport like you do.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.